What's up everybody, this is Zenith Kisare, the Archangel Feather. Welcome back to my channel. This is my next video for Angel Feather replays. This replay will be focused on my main deck, the Crimson Graver. Now if anybody happens to think of a more catchy name for a Gabrielle Metatron deck, I've had a couple suggestions. I almost slugged one guy for wanting to give the name Checkerboard, you know, black and red. I was like, But Crimson Graver is my main deck, and today I'm putting it up against a Shadow Paladin or a G-Shaladin Legion generation deck. Now, this replay happened before the addition of Raphael to Card Fight Area, and the reason why I really like this replay is because my opponent ultimately rage quit at the end of it, as you will see. Now, I don't know what's going on with my system. It's actually throwing my voice off of turns, so my voiceover is not going to be focused as much on the turn play. I tried to keep it there before, but it ultimately shifted off once I rode into Metatron. But as you can see here, my opening hand was good enough that I didn't have to reshuffle anything, and my opponent on turn 2 decides to try and rush me with Mana and Revenger of Darkness Rugos. And ultimately, because of my triggers and Thousand Ray, I was able to completely throw off his play, where I only had 1 damage and didn't even have to guard. So anybody who's reluctant to ride Thousand Ray and Millionaire Pegasus for Vanguards, there's a reason why you should. So, as you'll see, he ends up going into his Legion the turn after on Mordred Phantom, so he does ultimately a break ride. I kind of set him up for that on this next turn. This turn he goes into the usual sword breaker plays and builds his hand up. I stride into Blizza. Now I did an unorthodox thing on Blizza simply because my columns were Broken Heart, Pegasus, Pegasus. Instead of using Blizza to get the Generation Break 2, I decided instead, how about I just use Azrael so that I can add a card to my hand and boost everything on the field to 24,000 plus, and ultimately the Generation Break 2 wasn't even needed on the following turn, and in fact, if I had not done the Azrael play, I would have had 3 grade 3s on triple drive, no Battle Cupid in hand. I would have been in a lot of trouble. So, by doing that, I was better off in the long run. He shifted the game in his favor once he performed Legion, because he ended up hitting 2 heal triggers and a critical, so shifted it from 4 damage to 2, to 2 damage to 5. Of course, my damage was at 5. Now you'll see that instead of striding on my follow-up turn, while I'm sitting at 5 damage, I decided instead to go ahead and ride into Metatron, build up the power on my units, and between Medical Bomber and Azrael, get a card to my hand, and still have 27,000 power for Metatron on her own, along with the rear guards having a decent amount of boost. He ended up guarding for a 2-pass. My first drive check was a critical, and I decided, you know what, let's just put everything on Vanguard and hope for the best. And the next thing I knew, second critical trigger. Broke his 2-pass, puts him to 5, evens the game up significantly. I'll go ahead and admit now, this was definitely a very sack-focused game, because triggers were helping me to defend myself, triggers have helped me to break shields. So ultimately, it was definitely a one-sided affair, if you think about it. And not to mention 3 damage, 2 of them being Sentinels. He was pretty hard hit there. He strides into the excuse me, the Grim Hunter, or excuse me, Grim Recruiter. But in the long run, even after retiring 1,000 Ray and trying to hit me for as much damage as he could, trying to kill my Broken Hearts with some rearguard attacks, ultimately he lost out. And before I even chose a stride, you'll notice I discard Gabrielle. He ends up calling me a loser, and I respond with Rage Quitter because literally the next thing he did after typing loser was he quit. So, this is an example of the power of Metatron as the Vanguard. Not always better to play as Metatron over Raziel, just depends on the situation. That game might have been better to play as Raziel because I still would have had 10,000 power boosted to everybody on the field. But for that game, I decided instead I wanted to go focused on plussing and adding cards to my hand for defense for the next turn, thanks to Azrael. So ultimately, it could have went either way, but it was definitely in my favor breaking his shield. So Well, that's all for this episode. I'll try and get some more replays done later. Hopefully my voiceovers will correct themselves. If anybody has any suggestions for something better, I'm actually using Hypercam for my recordings, which might be part of the reason why. I don't have the most updated technology, but I'm certainly doing the best I can with it. So thank you guys for watching. Hope this is an inspiration to you Angel Feather players. Feel free to leave your comments, like, subscribe, and message me if you want to. I don't have a lot of subscribers anyway, so it's not like it'll be difficult for me to respond to your messages at this point. Any questions, any advice, I'll be happy to do. And of course, if you see me on other channels, I'm not going to name them, but I'm pretty well known in a few forums with the Angel Feathers, so just hit me up anytime, anywhere. Thanks guys, and I will catch you next time. Signing out.